Hossein Hajfaraj Dabak, better known by his pen name Abdolkarim Soroush, was born on December 16, 1945 in a lower-middle-class neighborhood of southern Tehran, the eldest son of a spice merchant who traced the family's lineage to the shrine city of Qom. After completing primary school at the state-run Fakhrezi Academy, he enrolled in the newly founded Alavi High School, a private institution managed by lay disciples of Ayatollah Talakani that blended experimental science courses with Qur'ānic exegesis and Persian poetry. Friends recall that he could recite Hafiz alongside Maxwell's equations, and that he annotated Mullah Adres Asfar in the margins of his chemistry notebooks. In 1964, he entered the School of Pharmacy at the University of Tehran. The pharmacology curriculum required organic chemistry practicums, and Soroush grew fascinated by the philosophy of experiment, particularly Karl Popper's falsificationism, which he encountered in a Farsi summary printed in the journal Danische Now. Graduating with distinction in 1970, he was drafted for the Shah's 2-year conscription but secured a waiver by passing the Ministry of Science's Overseas Fellowships exam. In autumn 1973, he flew to London and registered at Chelsea College, then part of the University of London, for an M.Sc. in analytic chemistry. Simultaneously, he attended evening lectures on the history and philosophy of science at the London School of Economics, where he encountered Imre Lakatos's research programs and Thomas Kuhn's structure in the original English. Lakatos died in 1974, but his seminars left a decisive mark. Soroush later described the Kuhn-Lakatos debate as the gateway through which religious knowledge must pass if it seeks modern self-understanding. By the time he completed coursework for a PhD, never finalized, the Iranian Revolution intervened. He had published 3 articles in ISIS and Annals of Science on Robert Boyle's laboratory notebooks. Returning to Tehran in March 1979, only weeks after the monarchy's collapse, he was swept into Ayatollah Khomeini's inner circle of lay technocrats. In June 1980, he accepted a seat on the newly formed Cultural Revolution Council, charged with purging West-toxified faculty and rewriting humanities syllabi. Yet within months, he clashed with clerical hardliners over compulsory jurisprudence courses for pharmacology students and resigned in January 1983, publishing an open letter that warned the revolution risked trading freedom of inquiry for piety by decree. The letter drew Ayatollah Khamenei's ire, but also won Soroush a lecturer post at Tehran's Tarbiyat Imam University, where he offered seminars titled Epistemology of Revelation to standing room crowds. His intellectual breakthrough came in 1984-86 with a serialized essay, Kab's V8 Basti Tyraki Shariat, the theoretical contraction and expansion of religious knowledge, first printed in the monthly Kian. Drawing on Popper, Kuhn, and Hans Gadamer's hermeneutics, Soroush argued that revelation is invariant but femi dini. Human understanding of faith is historically contingent, corrigible, and subject to the same paradigmatic shifts that govern natural science. He illustrated the claim with jurisprudential cases. Medieval ulama thought plague a divine whip. Modern scholars read it through bacteriology. The text's Popperian slogan, "Religion is sacred, but its understanding is not," became a rallying cry for the Iranian reform movement of the 1990s. Ayatollah Mesbiyazdi denounced the thesis as epistemological apostasy, but then President Mohammad Khatami, himself a philosopher of political Islam, appointed Soroush to the Supreme Council of the Iranian Cultural Revolution in 1997, hoping to shield him. That same year, Basij students disrupted his classes, and Kuhn was banned. Amid rising threats, he accepted a 1996-97 visiting fellowship at Harvard Center for Middle Eastern Studies, followed by stints at Princeton, Yale, and the Wissenschaftskolleg Berlin. During these residencies, he expanded his earlier epistemology into a more mystical anthropology. In lectures later collected as Basij Tajribi Nabavi, Expansion of Prophetic Experience, 1999, he proposed that prophets are limit cases of human consciousness whose revelatory states can be studied phenomenologically, an idea he mapped to William James's Varieties of Religious Experience and Henri Bergson's Elan Vital. Soroush maintained that while the Qur'ān's semantic core is immutable, prophetic language inevitably reflects 7th century Arab culture and modern ethics, especially on pluralism and gender, must be deduced from the spirit rather than the letter of revelation. Back in Iran, conservative newspapers orchestrated what they called Soroushizadegi, Soroush Plague, campaigns. The Special Clerical Court interrogated him twice in 1998 on charges of disturbing the minds of the faithful, but international outcry limited punitive measures to travel restrictions, which were lifted in 2000. He nonetheless relocated his primary residence to the United States, accepting visiting professorships at the University of Chicago and later Georgetown's Edmund A. Walsh School of Foreign Service, where he taught comparative political theology until 2015. His later work integrates poetry and analytic philosophy, arguing that Rūmī's Masnavi anticipates Wittgenstein's notion of language games. In Persian lectures, now disseminated through Telegram channels with millions of views, he dissects Hafez's ghazals using modal logic, claiming that metaphor operates as a semantic possible world. He also engages contemporary analytic metaphysics, publishing an English paper in Philosophy East and West, 2012, entitled Essential Contingency, on the divine attributes after Ghazali. The article bridges Alvin Plantinga's modal ontological proof and Mullah Adar's substantial motion, asserting that necessary being can include dynamic self-manifestation without negating immutability. Politically, he has moved from guarded support of Velayat-e Faqih, the Juris Guardian doctrine, in the early 1980s to open advocacy of liberal democracy tempered by an ethos of prophetic mercy. In a 2009 BBC Persian interview amid the Green Movement protests, he declared, "No cleric, however learned, can claim veto power over the people's sovereignty." Conservative theologian Ayatollah Yazdi issued a rebuttal fatwa labeling such views kafri elmi, scholarly blasphemy. Yet inside Iran, his lectures circulate furtively among seminary students in Qom, and reformist parliamentarians cite his work when drafting proposals on women's inheritance rights. Soroush's bibliography exceeds 30 volumes in Persian, with major titles including Reason, Freedom, and Democracy in Islam, Oxford, 2000, The Transformative Power of Faith, 2005, and a critical edition of Jamie S. Loy. He has received the Prince Claus Award, 2005, and the Erasmus Prize nomination, 2011, for significant contributions to Muslim intellectual renewal. Critics from the left argue he underestimates structural oppression, while secularists claim his epistemic fallibilism merely modernizes the clerical veto. Soroush replies that his project is neither apologetic nor iconoclasm, but theology under the condition of modernity. Now dividing his time between Boston and Cologne, he mentors doctoral students in philosophy of religion and hosts monthly Zoom salons where poets, physicists, and clerics debate Qur'ānic hermeneutics in light of quantum indeterminacy. He often ends sessions with a couplet from Rūmī. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there's a field. I will meet you there. For Soroush, the field is neither west nor east, but an ongoing frontier where revelation, reason, and liberty negotiate their unfinished covenant.